Here and Now, the program featuring the news and interests of the African American community. Here's your host, Sandra Bookman.
Even in a town that boasts the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, the New York Amsterdam News is iconic. Founded 115 years ago, the New York Amsterdam News was once the largest weekly community newspaper in the country, and it continues to be one of the most influential Black-owned and operated media businesses as well. How best to preserve that legacy and navigate a changing economic landscape? Why not turn the iconic newsroom into a museum and community space? Joining us this afternoon is the publisher and editor-in-chief of the New York Amsterdam News, Elinor Tatum. So nice to see you again.
It is so wonderful to be back here with you.
And it is, you know, anytime when I think about the Amsterdam News, I just get a smile on my face because it just feels like it's been there forever. You took over from your dad, right?
That is correct. And I've now been at the paper for 31 years.
Yeah. Do you still love it?
I do. You know, newspapers are a calling.
Yeah.
And the Black press is a special calling. Mm-hmm. And, you know, this is a family business. And it has been since my father became a part of it. And my grandfather was a newspaperman as well. And, you know, he had small farming newspapers down in North Carolina.
We talk about, I said, challenging economic times.
Very much so.
No matter how big you are in this country, if you're a newspaper, these are some rough times. And I would think for the Amsterdam News and the community it serves, it has been not easy keeping the paper robust and going.
Absolutely. I mean, journalism in general has transformed so much, and newspapers have transformed so much in the last 10, 15 years. The digital age has brought such changes, and the actual printed newspaper is something that is very, very hard to find these days. And then we still print, actually. We also have a robust online presence, but our printed paper is something that is still very important to us and to our community. But, you know, since we were founded in 1909, you know, we have been, you know, part of the heartbeat of New York's Black community, wherever it is, basically here and around the country and around the world.
Yeah. Look, even before I moved here, I knew about the New York Amsterdam News. Now, perhaps it's because I was studying to be a journalist and wanted to be, but I was aware of the paper's legacy and how important it is for the community. And talk to me a little bit about that. Why is it such a touchstone for so many people in the community?
Because we've told the stories that other people haven't. We have the lens of our community, for and by our community. Journalists that have come through there have, you know, some have gone on to many other great positions editorially and others, but, you know, we've had the writings of people like Malcolm X. We have told the stories of people that no one else even thought about before we wrote about them. We've broken stories. We've been that voice that other people they just didn't have if it wasn't for us. And, you know, I've always said that if it wasn't for the Amsterdam News, so much of Black New York would have never existed in the annals of history. And that's what the Black press is all about. And that's one of the things we're trying to preserve in this cultural community space that we're trying to create.
Honestly, when I read about it, I thought, you know what, that's an interesting idea, because it does keep the work that you've done over this 115 years alive. And you're in a sense, will be showing people, you know, how you used to do it alongside how it gets done today. And specifically, because I've gotten ahead of myself here, we're talking about this plan you have to sort of memorialize the newsroom by turning it into a museum. Talk to me about where that idea came from and why do you think it's a perfect way of really preserving your legacy?
We don't really call it a museum, but an educational space.
Okay.
And a community space. So, You know, when you look at our newsroom, it harkens back to the 1940s and 50s. I mean, our desks are still from that time. We've got a huge chalkboard that is also from those times. And our filing cabinets, our books, everything shows you what that space looked like. And then there are a few computers dotted around the room. And so easily could we reshape that room into a space that actually shows what it looked like over the decades. And then we can tell the stories of the people that worked behind those desks.
Yeah, and why their stories are as important as the stories they helped tell.
Exactly, and how they helped shape the direction of what the Amsterdam was, is, and will be. And so that's a large part of it, but also talking about communications in general, the history of Black journalists as well, and also being able to be a monument to Black journalism and Black journalists. And you know, all of this could not have even been started, you know, if it wasn't for this really generous grant from the Mellon Foundation, who has given us a planning grant. And we've got these wonderful architects that we're working with, Angel Ion and Jerome Hayford, who are two of the leading Black architects and designers that are helping us really envision what this is going to be looking like.
Yeah, so it's in a way you're preserving it, but it's also it sounds like your intent is still for it to be a living, breathing space.
Yes, exactly. And then, you know, there are all sorts of other components to it. So there's going to be gathering space and hopefully an eating space where people can come in off of the street and, you know, learn about the Amsterdam News, but also talk with each other and one another, and, you know, podcasting and video studios, so that we can be doing a lot of the things that we've always done, but with new technology as well.
Now, you mentioned the grant from the Mellon Foundation, and my understanding is that the Amsterdam News Educational Foundation has raised about $450,000.
That is the Mellon grant.
That's the grant.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
And so that is our initial seed grant. That is a planning grant.
Okay. And how much more do you need to see the project come to fruition?
Well, you know, our initial numbers are about $10 million to see it to fruition, but you know, that part of the planning grant will be to get those numbers solidified.
And do you have a you know, sort of a plan, a timing when you'd like to have this completed, or?
Well, so the initial planning phase, we are looking at the next 6 months to a year, and then the actual architectural designs and all of that, the next 9 to 12 months, and then, you know, real construction and things like that will begin.
Start.
Yeah.
And to be clear, while you're turning the newsroom into this sort of teaching space, community gathering space, so it's a sort of a salute to the Black press and why it's important to the community, you are also going to continue to do the important work you do at the Amsterdam News.
Oh, absolutely. We're not missing a beat.
AmsterdamNews.com, Elinor Tatum. Also, always wonderful to talk to you, and I can't wait until you get to another stage. You got to come back and let us see those plans.
I can't wait to be able to show you them. We're very, very excited, and I can't wait to invite you in to give you a tour.
We will love to be the first ones in.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.